I was supposed to be writing. Well, that was the plan anyway. Sit down, open my laptop, and work on a video. That's what I told myself. But then, my phone was there. Not really doing anything, just kind of sitting there. And I knew I shouldn't pick it up. I knew exactly how it would go. I'd check a text, then my email, then the weather, and before I knew it, an hour would go by and it would be time for bed. And my document would still be blank, not a word written. So naturally, of course, I picked it up. And naturally, of course, I wasted an hour, and then went to bed disappointed in myself for wasting another evening. I'd had enough. It was time for something to change. I've been trying to beat my phone for years, but somehow this little thing continued to beat every system I built. It didn't matter how intentional I was or how good the routine looked on paper. The second there was a gap in my day, my phone was there to fill it. Waiting for food? Phone. Going to the bathroom? Phone. Waiting for my code to run? Phone. Phone, 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 phone. It was like over the last decade I trained myself and my brain to never experience a blank moment. A moment of peace. Every time life got quiet, my phone was right there, ready to fill the silence. And I hated it. Not so much that I was ready to throw it out and get a flip phone. I wasn't quite there yet. I still wanted the things that made having a smartphone useful. Maps, Apple Pay, messages, camera. I just didn't want it to be useful for everything. I didn't want it to be my entertainment, my boredom cure, my escape from reality. I didn't want to get rid of my phone completely. I just wanted to make it worse. Worse at distracting me, worse at entertaining me. I wanted the feeling of having a flip phone with the functionality of having a smartphone, which may sound kind of impossible, but that was the goal. I wanted to redesign my phone so that I would hate using it for the wrong reasons. And I'd already been trying to do this for years. I had deleted social media, I'd set up app blockers, I bought a lockbox, carried my phone in my backpack, made it a dumb phone. And all of it helped, for a while. But eventually my phone would always find its way back into my life one way or another. Because I was treating the obvious problem. The apps, the screen time, the social media. But the real problem was a little bit deeper than that. The real problem was the reflex. That little reach. The tiny moment of boredom or silence where I didn't know what to do next. So I immediately grabbed my phone. So I needed a better system. Something that didn't just block a few apps, but changed my relationship with the phone completely. And luckily, there's a framework for this. And it comes from my favorite book, Atomic Habits. In the book, James Clear gives a 4-step system for breaking a bad habit. And the bad habit? This guy. My plan was simple. Take each step and apply it directly to my phone. Not in a turn grayscale on and call it a day kind of way. I'd already tried that. This time I wanted to go further. Done. No, it's a little harder than that. The first part of the plan was pretty simple. I needed my phone to stop being near me. Because my phone wasn't just distracting because of what was on it. It was distracting because it was always right there, pulling at me, ready to distract me at a moment's notice. So, I gave it a home. And by a home, I mean I started putting it in places that were so inconvenient that it made me feel like an idiot for going to get it. Out of sight and out of mind. On the top shelf of my closet, hidden in the back, in my car, and mostly in my lockbox, off and locked away. But the second I did that, I noticed something kind of interesting. I'd sit down at my desk, open my laptop, and the second I got bored for a second, I would briefly look around to get my phone. Not because I needed it, just because this was programmed in me, just this automatic response to boredom. But since it wasn't there anymore, I couldn't just go grab it, and that happened everywhere. My laptop loading, reach, sitting on the couch, reach. It was like there was these little moments of silence in my day, and my phone had become the thing I poured into every single one of them to fill them. And when it wasn't there, those moments felt a lot more obvious. They felt bold. And a lot of the time, I would just sit there and feel the urge. Because that was kind of the point. Before, I never really noticed the urge because I'd satisfy it so quickly. Thought would pop up and my phone would already be in my hand. But now there was this little delay. I would get bored, I'd look for my phone, it wouldn't be there. And then I had to decide if it was actually worth walking to my car, or going to my closet and putting my arm into the back, moving everything around, or trying to break into the lockbox. And most of the time, it just wasn't worth the effort. So that became the first part of the system. My phone couldn't live near me anymore. If I needed it, I could go get it. But I didn't want it to be the default thing my hand reached for every time I had nothing to do. And for a while, this worked. My phone was away from me, and I couldn't just grab it the second I got bored. But there was still another version of near me that I hadn't really thought about. Because even if my phone was physically across the room, it could still pull at my attention with noise. If it buzzed, now I was thinking about it. So I also made it quieter. I turned off all notifications. and this helped even more. For the first time in a long time, my phone actually started to feel a little bit separate from me, which was good, until I actually needed to use it. I still needed those useful apps like maps, camera, texting, phone calls. I didn't want to get rid of the phone entirely, so eventually it would still end up back in my hand. And once it was back in my hand, making it invisible didn't really matter anymore, because now I had a new problem. It still felt good to use. Once I was actually using my phone, I wanted it to be as unappealing as possible, because smartphones are designed to feel good. The screen is bright, the colors are nice, the animations are smooth, everything feels easy and polished. And even if I delete the worst apps, the phone itself still feels like something I want to keep using. So I needed to make it uglier. I'd already tried grayscale before, and it helped, but only for a while. Eventually I'd either turn it off or I would just get used to it and I would go back to doing the exact same thing, just in black and white. So this time grayscale wasn't the whole solution. It was just part of making my phone less enjoyable to use. And it does definitely make a difference. In color, everything feels more alive, photos look better, apps look more interesting, but in grayscale, everything just feels dull, flat, less exciting, less like something I want to spend time on. It doesn't make the phone impossible to use, but it makes the phone feel a little bit less like entertainment. I wanted my phone to feel more like a tool, something I use when I need it and then put down. So I also cleaned up the home screen, not to make it look cool, just to make it boring. Because the more I did, the more I realized that deleting social media and blocking distractions wasn't enough for me. I could still find ways to waste time with apps that weren't even supposed to be distracting. I would spam check my messages, my email, the weather, Venmo. I could check basically anything if I was bored enough. That made me realize the problem wasn't just scrolling, it was checking. Checking if something changed, checking if someone texted, checking if there was something new, something to do. So I stripped my phone down to the apps I actually needed and got rid of everything else. Essentials, maps, camera, calendar, notes, reminders, wallet, airlines, things that had a clear purpose. And after this, my phone started to feel different. It was quieter, more boring, less colorful, there was less to do, and that helped. But not enough. Because even if my phone was boring, it was still easy to open. And if it was easy to open, I was still going to open it. This is where I started adding friction. Not a crazy amount. I didn't want my phone to become unusable. I just wanted there to be a small pause before I got into it. Because before, there was no pause. I'd pick up my phone, Face ID would unlock it instantly, and I'd be inside before I had even decided what I was doing. So I turned off Face ID for unlocking. I still wanted Face ID for banking, passwords, and Apple Pay, but for unlocking my phone, I wanted it to be a little bit more annoying. So now I had to type in a passcode, and I made it a long passcode. And that delay helped. I'd pick up my phone, go to unlock it, and then for a second, had to actually think about what I was doing. Sometimes I'd still type in the code and use it anyway, but sometimes I'd realize I didn't actually need it. I was just bored. Then I made it harder to undo the setup. Because I'd done this before. I'd delete an app and then re-download it later. I'd set up a screen limit, then ignore it. So this time I wanted undoing it to take more effort. So my girlfriend had to set the passcode for me. Because if I know the passcode, then the system only works when I feel disciplined. It needed to work when I'm tired or bored or sitting on the couch. Because that's usually when the problem happened. I'd open my phone for one reason and then slowly drift somewhere else. And by the end, I wouldn't even remember why I picked it up. When I failed at being intentional at using my phone, it would go back in the lockbox. Just because removing the option was easier than fighting the urge. I'd sit on the couch without it. I wouldn't really know what to do. Be waiting for something. I wouldn't know where to put my attention. And just sit there with this urge to check my phone. And that was probably the most important part of the whole experiment. Because I realized the phone wasn't just distracting me from things. It was also telling me what to do whenever I didn't know what to do. And without it, I had to actually sit in these moments. Think. Decide what to do with myself. So I made one rule. I don't open my phone to find something to do. I only open it when I already know what I'm doing. Text someone, use maps, take a photo, pay for something, write a note. That's it. And that helped me make my phone feel more limited. It still had a purpose, but it wasn't supposed to be the answer to every empty moment. But there was still another problem. Even with all that, there was still one thing pulling me back. The possibility that something was there. FOMO. Maybe someone texted me, maybe something was going on tonight, maybe something changed. And that was the final part I had to deal with. The final step in breaking a bad habit. This was the part I didn't really understand at first. I thought the reward was entertainment. I thought I was picking up my phone because it was fun. But a lot of the time it wasn't fun. Checking the weather isn't fun. Opening messages with no new texts isn't fun. Looking at my calendar again for the 10th time isn't fun. But it still gave me something. It gave me the possibility that something had changed. and that was enough to keep me checking. So I tried to make checking less rewarding. No badges, no previews, no constant notifications, large random groups got muted. I wanted there to be less of that feeling that something was always there waiting for me. And slowly, checking my phone became less exciting. There wasn't as much to see, there wasn't as much pulling me back in. So I'd pick up my phone, realize there wasn't much there, and put it down. But then I was back to the same problem. Because if I wasn't going to use my phone every time I felt bored, I needed something else to do with that feeling. So I made a boredom menu. Not on my phone, but on paper. Just a simple list of things I could do whenever I wanted to grab my phone. Go for a walk, read, clean something, stretch, journal, film something, text one person intentionally, or just sit there for a few minutes and do nothing. And honestly, the last one was the hardest and the most rewarding. Because doing nothing sounds easy, but when you're used to filling every empty second with your phone, it just feels weird. You sit there and realize how quickly your brain wants stimulation. But that was the part I wanted to get back. After putting all this together, my phone started to feel different. It was still useful, but it didn't feel as open-ended anymore. It wasn't the thing I could pick up and disappear into easily, and that was the closest I've gotten to what I wanted from the beginning. The feeling of having a flip phone with the functionality of having a smartphone. Not perfect, not completely solved, but closer. Because I still mess up, I still check it too much sometimes, I still pick it up and forget why I picked it up. But now there's at least more space between me and the habit. So no, I don't actually hate my phone, but I do hate using it for the wrong reasons. If you enjoyed this video, you can also watch this video about habits to make your life so fun that you don't have time to scroll anymore, or you can watch this video. I'm also launching my own brand of cushions for sitting on the floor. You can click the first link in the description to join the waitlist to get notified when those drop. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, in peace.